Sakoi Garbore, and welcome to Cassus Café. This week, we're going to be discussing episode 3 of season 2 of Visions. It's called In the Stars. And I'm here with Tykoth and Kli'nah.
Hello.
What were you guys' thoughts about this one?
Up to this point in Visions, episode 3, this is my favorite one by a long shot. It's a very biased point of view, just because I love claymation. I love the stop motion aesthetic. I've been waiting. To my knowledge, this is the first thing official Star Wars that is claymation based.
It's claymation based, but it's not actual claymation.
Right, but it's in the style of that.
Yeah.
Kind of Kubo and the Two Strings-esque sort of a look. And anyways, love it so much. Feels like toy sets, feels like just amazing sets. The visuals in this are like stunning. And then I love the kind of Chilean, again, very myth-driven like these others, but very cave-esque, very tribal, very family-oriented. I just adore the big picture themes of this. So this is my favorite so far.
That's interesting, because so far out of these three that we've watched, it's probably my least favorite.
Yeah.
It's not bad. It's just, I probably wouldn't put it above episodes 1 and 2. But it's all right. It's fine. I like the sister dynamic. That's pretty close to my heart because my fantasy book I'm writing has main characters are 2 sisters, so I can understand that and get into that a bit.
Yeah, the dynamic of mother at the very beginning kind of really got me good. And
I thought it was really good art style because throughout the whole thing I was trying to analyze it and be like, is this really claymation? Is this digital? I think it's digital, but it's made to look like claymation. And I was right. I ended up being right. But there was that tinge of doubt that it might actually be claymation. So it's good. It's like when I first saw the Lego movie in theaters, I thought that was all stop motion. I didn't know any of that was digital. Like, it was that good.
Right,
I knew they would probably use digital, like the CGI for like certain effects, but I thought most of the Legos and stuff were stop motion because they had such attention to detail on it, like fingerprints on the pieces and everything like that, that I was like, this has got to be stop motion, but it's not. So it was similar to that.
Did you see Kubo and the Two Strings?
No.
Okay. That was another one where they used stop motion for the characters themselves, but everything around it was CG. And I did wonder about that for a little bit. Like, are the characters that and then everything else around them is CG? But yeah, it's all
One really cool thing that this company did was they actually went on location. I forget what country they went to, but they went somewhere specific and they actually got 3D renders of different plants and natural structures to use within this animation. So I even see, looking back at some of the images, I see like some of the tufts of grass that I saw that they took from watching the extras. I'm like, oh, I saw that tuft of grass as a 3D render that they took from that place of land. If that makes any sense. So that's really cool.
But what they also did, because I also watched the behind the scenes of this one, because this was the one I was like, did they do it digitally or not? Where they did make actual like claymation models as a base for their digital renders. So there's physical stuff, but none of this in the actual episode is physical. It's based off of the physical stuff.
The lighting in this one, at least I notice it more than the others. Maybe it's just because it's 3D, but there's just so much like lighting detail on.
It's really neat.
Water, and as she's kind of rowing into the refinery, the base, like that whole sequence with all the light shafts and the rays, just gorgeous.
I do love the blue tones to most of the lighting.
Yeah, and especially with it's like blue, and then you've got those warm flames coming out of the refinery pillars. Just, really dynamic contrast. Yeah, right off the gate at the beginning when it like kind of highlights the mother who has passed. For some reason, that one hit me harder than the rest, and I was just like into their struggle from the beginning. And they were cute, especially the little girl. Just, really refreshing.
I have a hot take.
Do it.
Yeah.
I really don't like these characters. The young girl is really annoying. She does such stupid stuff. It's like, listen to your sister. She's trying to make sure you don't get killed. Like, stop. And
Yeah.
they're so frustrating. And then what's it at the end? Doesn't the older sister like listen to the younger sister and like do what she says at the end or something?
Well, not necessarily. She has to, in order to save her sister, she really realizes that, you know, she does have the Force, and she uses it to save her, basically.
So like, you know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of Lilo and Stitch. Lilo is just such an annoying, terrible little kid that doesn't listen to her older sister, and her older sister's just trying to take care of her.
That is so true.
Whoa.
I do like the older sister's emotional growth, but I really don't like the younger sister in this one.
Well, I'm saying it's true because of the parallel with these characters.
Parallel. I like Lilo and Stitch. She's not as bad as this girl, because Lilo is not in danger of getting murdered. This chick is.
Well, I mean, Lilo was kidnapped by aliens, so...
That's true. That's true. Okay. Lilo's...
This is Lilo and Stitch without Stitch.
Yeah. Maybe Stitch makes Lilo and Stitch more watchable.
The other two have been kind of pessimistic up to this point.
Yeah.
And this one is a very, like, optimistic take.
Yeah. Which was a good breath of fresh air from the last two, for sure.
Yeah.
I was a little bit afraid at the end when they fell off into the water that they had died for a few reasons. One, I was afraid it was just going to cut to black and then like end to credits.
Yeah.
And two, didn't they say that like all the water has all the toxic stuff cut into it? Aren't they like basically bathing in a toxic ocean now?
Yeah.
Are they not going to have repercussions from that?
A bit.
Like, I don't think this is going to end well. They're going to become like Spider-Man or something.
Yeah.
There is some world building in this that's not as strong because they don't play off of it as good as they could have. Where they explain how, the Empire took all the water, but they also, in doing so, poisoned the rest of the planet.
Yeah.
But
in that case, how do they take this toxic water, purify it, and then put the toxins back into the water? Like, how are they having clean water for the Empire? And then how did they not die or like grow a third limb from the toxic water falling into it and swimming back to their little safety area?
Yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just appreciate the other two have ended a little more nihilistically in terms of they show the difference between the good and evil, and then they tend to go the bad route, or at least somewhere in the middle. But this one, they kind of go just the good route, but they do show that the nihilism of the sister is like a little more like it's needed. It's an important part to be realistic, but also like that childlike wonder, you shouldn't completely lose it. Like, it's important too. And so I like that dynamic a lot.
Well, and the trust that the younger girl has in the Force that the older girl needs to gain.
Yeah.
She needs to like believe and trust in the
Force. They're both important in that case, that you can't lean far one way or the other.
Yeah, they're two sides of a whole character.
Yeah.
Really.
And I understand how the older sister has become the way she is completely. Like, you're the caretaker in that case, and you're, so much death and decay have happened. Like, how do you not become that way? So I understand it.
I have another question about this universe that's been created.
Yeah.
Are they the only two natives left?
Yeah, that's.
I think so.
What's the point then? They're they're not going to be able to reproduce. The oldest one's going to die someday, and the younger one's going to be alone for a couple more years until she inevitably dies.
We don't know how. Maybe they don't need. Maybe they don't need anything to reproduce.
They are a new species, so who knows?
There are like fish that exist can do it themselves even here, so maybe they can do it themselves.
And apparently when they die, they turn into stars, so maybe they'll just start a new world in the stars.
And then maybe the stars fall down to the planet again, and then that's like a rebirth. We don't know. I would dig that. That'd be sweet.
It was neat to see like some aspects of native cultures' belief systems seen in this.
This one's from Chile, right?
Chile. Yep.
So I would assume maybe it's probably like Mayan or.
But they believe some people believe that the stars are actual like deities and stuff, and that when you die you become one of those. So it's interesting to see that ancient belief system tied into this.
And even with all the not cave drawings, but the rock drawings and all that stuff at the beginning too is very reminiscent of those ideas.
It's neat how both this one and the previous one from Ireland, they both kind of tie in some of their ancient or their historical stories into their stories that they're telling here.
That's been probably my favorite aspect in general. Yeah, is that idea, just because these would that would never happen, and it's never going to.
Yeah.
So these are kind of our one chance to see that sort of stuff, like that. Yeah, and that image of all their hands being projected on the rock at the very end. It's like so pretty and meaningful.
Yeah, which is once again one of my favorite things about Visions in general, is just being able to sit back and watch non-canon stories and people come in and have their own takes and their own kind of visions on the world and creates little pockets of stuff happening and based off of the universe. That
if this was canon, like, everyone would be going, that's not how the Force works.
Yeah.
Being like really annoying about that, but because we haven't seen it before, but it doesn't matter at all. You can just have these expressions of the Force in different ways. First one was through paint. Second one was through, there wasn't as much there, but this one through drawing and art and dark.
Through a folklore type story.
Yeah.
That's really
totally
neat.
Yeah.
And the final shot is really pretty too. Just
gorgeous.
To comment on that. Just the lighting.
Yeah. The lighting is just amazing in this whole entire piece. Man, I just love the visuals so much.
I'm excited to watch the rest of it now, because after talking about it, I wasn't sure how I felt about this season yet, but after talking about it, I'm like, yeah, this season actually has the potential to be stronger than the first one for me.
I think you get so many more perspectives in this season than you did in the first, since they're all from different cultures.
Yeah, for sure.
So they're all coming from a completely different place rather than a bunch of people from the same country.
And I am biased on that, because there's nothing wrong with anime. I just don't particularly connect with it at all. And so I was always going to put this one above it. I'm so happy that there's anime for people who love it and really resonate with that style. It's just not for me. And so it's just, I mean, like, every one of these I personally prefer to any of the episodes. Visions one, but I just, I would love it. Yeah, already I want a third season. I want them to keep going. I love it.
Definitely.
Yeah.
I hope they've already planned it out and asked studios to start making them, because I would love to see this continue for years.
It feels like I'm going to a festival, like a Sundance Film Festival, but it's Star Wars themed, and like, how cool is that?
It's also like started to become almost a thing where studios group together for the first time for one of these projects, because I think, was it this one that the studio came together for the first time to make this? So it's like these people that were just Star Wars fans that were in animation, they grouped together to form their own like group to make this episode. So this is like their first project.
For this one specifically, or for the
I think for this one specifically, yeah.
Which is really neat.
Yeah. And I don't know if there's any other one
in the slightest.
Yeah, no, I'm sure all of them have experience in some other studios and stuff, but this particular group working together, I think, came together for the first time for this episode.
That's really neat.
I do plan on watching the extras for each of these before we do these reviews, just so I can have some of that background information for us.
It's really good, because otherwise we don't really have too much more context to go off of.
Yeah.
And it does gives us some cool insight into how these episodes were made and what was the inspirations behind them and stuff.
Yeah, I wish I knew even more about cultures and stuff too, to comment on even more, but there's such deep histories in all of it that I know.
And they're so vast, you can't know about every culture,
No,
just know a little bit about everything or a lot about one.
There's one made in India, and like India, literally one of like the oldest things ever,
Wow.
They're like the oldest recorded, a lot of folk and religion there, so it's like, how do you even begin to dive into that? For one 15-minute Star Wars cartoon.
All right, so let's go ahead and get to our ratings for this one. We'll go with Kli'nah first.
I'm going to have the lowest score. I just know that. Because, I love this. The art is beautiful. The story is great. It's great for someone else. Personally, I'm not a huge fan of this one, so I'm going to give it like a 7 for my personal rating.
Yeah.
Because that's just how I feel.
All right, what about you, Tykoth?
10. Beautiful.
10.
Amazing. Love
I
it.
figured.
Yeah. It is not my favorite of the season though.
Oh.
Now, coming off of Mandalorian season 3, this is a 10 out of 10 compared to Mandalorian.
Yeah, I mean, I'm always gonna side with like the art aspect. So I like this more than anything else. But yeah,
I feel you. I definitely appreciate more artistic takes on stuff, and one of my favorite movies is just super artistic. So I understand that. But this one for me, I'll probably go with an 8. I do tend to agree with Kli'nah a little bit on the characters, how they're, I guess, acted more than portrayed. The little girl is slightly more annoying, but I don't find her as annoying as you do.
In a way, that's good, though, that she's annoying, because it means they created a character that makes you feel something, whether it's a good or a bad emotion. Yeah. So that's something to give them.
I would give it... Did I already give a number?
I gave it an 8.
I gave it an 8? Yeah, that's what I was going to go for again.
Yeah. Up to this... Well, I guess I'll save the ranking now. I won't rank yet.
Yeah.
We'll do it at the end.
We'll get to the rankings after we're done with season. But yeah, this has been our review of episode 3 of Vision season 2, In the Stars. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Leave us a comment of what you thought about the episode and what you think of the season as a whole, and we'll catch you in the next one for episode 4. See you later. Oh, and like and subscribe. Bye.
Bye.